Good morning. Welcome to Headline Focus here live on Core Politics with me, Rob Double. It is Wednesday, the 14th of February 2018, Valentine's Day. Let's have a look at what's making the political news today. So to start off with, a speech by Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson. That is the main story coming through today, and indeed probably will be setting the agenda for the whole day. What's he saying now? Already, as is totally expected, parts of the speech and all of the speech really has been leaked to most of the UK press, so that it's hitting the front pages today. Brexit is not grounds for fear, but hope. That is the key line coming through in a lot of the papers today. It's an attempt, according to many papers, for the Foreign Secretary to try and reunite Leave voters with Remain voters under the UK government and under Brexit as a inevitability and also a political outcome. Now, what's really coming through is that Boris Johnson is trying to appeal here to Remain voting members of the population, members of the UK, specifically on the basis of complementing their pro-European stance. Belief in European solidarity is based on noble sentiments, he's reported to say, and as well as if we are to carry this project through to national success, as we must, then we must also reach out to those who still have anxieties. Now, he was relatively firm, though, on where his red lines are. Trying to force a second referendum, he will say, is a disastrous mistake that would lead to permanent and feelings of betrayal. I'll leave that word to him a bit later on. This is one of the series of speeches on the road to Britain, which many government ministers are announcing. So the Prime Minister is later this week at the Munich Security Conference going to be giving her speech on Brexit. The key thing as well is that Boris Johnson is looking for a fight against soft Brexit. Now, he's also due to say in this speech, which will be more difficult for pro-EU members of the population, but also pro-EU cabinet ministers to accept, is that the concept of accepting any kind of EU rules and regulations will be intolerable, undemocratic, and will make it all but impossible for us to do serious free trade deals. The speech at 11 a.m. This morning, if you want to tune in. I'm sure it's going to be on most of the main news channels. Next up, animal rights is due to be the next big political battleground, it seems, after Labour today are announcing a 50 draft policy proposal aimed at improving animal welfare. Now, this includes cheaper vet care for poorer families, proposed ban on foie gras, giving renters the right to have a pet, and forcing motorists to report when they have hit a cat. They're just some of the examples. But what is the real reason behind this? Labour are trying to make themselves, or plan to make themselves at least, the party for or of animal welfare. And this comes off the back of the enormous success that the Environment Secretary Michael Gove has had in the role, specifically on animal rights and animal welfare. So very interesting stuff there. That's due to be announced later today. Finally, one more story. UK borders are not equipped for Brexit. Now, this has trickled down into most of the papers today. Border Force is not equipped to deal with the extra checks of EU citizens after Brexit, and this is according to the Home Affairs Select Committee. They published a paper on this. It says MPs are increasingly alarmed about the impact of inadequate resources and the government's failure to set out its new borders and registration schemes was causing unnecessary anxiety for a large number of EU citizens as well. Now, this could lead the Home Affairs Select Committee to backlogs at the border come March 2019 or after the transition period if we do not have a clear policy and also infrastructure in place to deal with the new immigration laws and the new way of processing EU immigration as well. That's pretty much it for today. You're up to date. Don't forget you can find all the latest on what we're doing here on Core Politics on our Facebook page and Twitter right here. But from me and all the team here at Core London, have a fantastic Valentine's Day.